Update. Am I the asshole for not explicitly telling my grandpa I'm married to another woman? Op. I just want to thank everyone who commented. I read through them all and it really helped me process the situation. I spoke with my mom a few hours the night after I posted, and she apologized for her comment about my wife and I hanging all over each other. I apologized for putting her in the situation she was in and that I genuinely thought that he had known. She basically said that it was okay, he knows now, and not to worry. She had talked to him and told him that we were together but didn't tell him we were married, which she said needed to come from me. I agreed. I said I was going to give him some time to process and reflect on things, and that I didn't want to reach out too soon before he was ready. I waited a week to talk to him. In that time an aunt of mine said she spoke with him. They spoke for a while and his general sentiment was that he was worried that we could lead happy lives together, i.e., could we find a home? Could we have kids? Would we be able to keep our jobs? She said they had a really good talk and that she was able to reassure him on his worries. She told me I should talk to him and give him a chance to see how happy we are. This weekend I went to visit him. My aunt and mom came with too. After we chatted for a while I told my grandpa that I had some news. I told him that my wife and I had actually gotten married this summer. I made it clear that it was a very small ceremony, and that our parents couldn't even attend. And that because of that we are planning on having a big wedding celebration in a year or two after COVID is over so all of our family and friends could celebrate. I explained that I was just nervous to tell him, and that I was worried what he would think. He said, "Well, I'm 85. My opinion doesn't matter." We talked a little bit more. I made sure to mention that we were very happy, and that our jobs knew and our neighbors knew when we bought our house. I also mentioned that my wife's parents went to the same college my parents and all my mom's siblings went to, and he thought that was pretty cool. I told him that I didn't have a chance to tell Grandma before she passed, and that I really miss her and had hoped she could see how happy we were together. We all had a little cry and talked about how much we miss her. The next morning, a different aunt called me and said that when she went and visited Grandpa he was all excited. "Did you hear we're going to have a big party after COVID? Op is having a wedding celebration. She and I had a good talk and it sounds like Grandpa is doing well with the news and that everything worked out okay." NGL I teared up at the end after reading how excited your grandpa is for your wedding. Happy crying face. I'm so happy for you and your wife, and glad everything went well after the original post. Glad it worked out, but do you still think you aren't close with your grandpa? Last thread you said you weren't close and called him once a week. That is probably far closer than most people have with their own grandparents. Once a week is a lot for many adult friendships. Ah, what a wholesome story. I love your grandpa and the entire family. Lovely update. A different aunt called me and said that when she went and visited Grandpa he was all excited. Did you hear we're going to have a big party after COVID? Op is having a wedding celebration. My heart beating heart, this is so sweet. Glad it worked out in the end for you. I was originally saddened for your grandfather to read that you choose to exclude him from the news. Ah, this makes me so happy. I'm in a similar boat. I'm queer and dating a woman. One side of my family is conservative and religious and I don't know how to come out to them without being disowned. Your story made me cry. You have a very beautiful family. Such a wholesome ending. I'm so glad everything has worked out. Yay. Blue heart. I'm so glad everything worked out. I moved in with my husband before marriage, gasp, and my mom was so worried my very old very Christian great aunt would kick up a fuss. When she told her, her response was literally, "Well, that's what young people do these days." Lol. Sometimes people surprise you in the best way. I had an experience a lot like yours with my grandpa and my transition. My family kept dancing around it for over a year before I could finally just tell him, and after his initial, "Oh, you can do that," he's been amazing and full of support. I wish you, your wife, and your grandpa an amazing party when it's safe to throw it. Congratulations. Nice to see everyone apologize and understand one another. I'm so glad everything turned out okay. I'm also very sorry about your grandmother. I was pretty much in the same situation where my grandmother passed before I could tell her my husband and I married. At her funeral, my aunt, who had been taking care of my grandmother, said that she asked and talked about me all the time and that she was glad I was living with someone I loved. Since she thought we weren't married she said we were, so modern. Which makes me laugh whenever I think about it. Even if your grandmother didn't know you were a couple, I'm sure she was happy for you anyway to be spending so much time with someone you love, even if she thought you were only friends. Also, I'm tearing up now loudly crying. Aw. That's so sweet. Your grandpa sounds like a sweet guy. Hope things settle down and you get to have your reception soon. I'm a queer guy and not gonna lie, this story made me tear up. I wish you and your family the best. I hope your grandfather and you enjoy his remaining years together. Can someone get the onions outta here? Your grandpa sounds awesome. I love how excited he got about the big party. Oh god. The Instacart person is almost here and I'm crying. Lol. That's sweet man. My heart. Oh boy does his opinion matter to you and I'm so happy everyone is happy for you. I think you're closer to granddad than you realize and he sounds amazing. You're very lucky. Maybe increase those call times a wee bit, I think he'd love it. It's really sweet that his concerns were all about your future and how others will treat you. Remind me of my grandma's worried about my relationship. I am white and my boyfriend is black. Her only concern is how people will treat us and any kids we have. You know what the best part of this update is? You were worried he would be upset or not accept your marriage and all your grandpa was concerned about was if you and your wife would be treated the same as a hetero couple. He is so proud and I am in tears over here. Happy stories are so needed right now, thank you. I am really glad he is happy for you, and I just want to say that it's clear he cares very deeply about you. In the first post you said you two weren't that close and it seems like you thought maybe he didn't care very much, but I think he has proven the opposite. Some people show affection in different ways and maybe when your grandma was alive he didn't want to get in the way of girl talk or something when you came over, but he clearly cares and you guys might be much closer than you think. Congratulations by the way. This is so sweet, I'm glad it all worked out. He said, well I'm 85. My opinion doesn't matter. Holy shit I love this. I wish more people were like this. Old or young. Congrats less than 3. I honestly think some older people are more accepting of their grandchildren than the parents are of those children. I've seen a lot of posts over the years where someone was nervous to come out to a grandparent but then it turned out they didn't really care. As another anecdote, an acquaintance who came out had a little grief with their parents and an uncle, but their grandma was like, good for you. And never had anything negative to say. Ah. This is so sweet. If and when it's safe, please give your grandpa a great big hug from a random internet stranger. I hope you have a beautiful ceremony celebration. I'm so happy for you. My oldest DTR is trans and was already married when she came out. My dad has refused to see her for 3 years and it breaks her heart. My mom meets us out for lunch freak. When there is no pandemic and all she can talk about is, OMG, your hair is gorgeous. And she loves to buy her jewelry. Her acceptance means a lot but it can't make up for the other pain. I'm so glad your grandfather is so cool. Be blessed. I think this is a very well recovered asshole. Having seen the aftermath of a bad coming out received bad. No coming out is bad, it's refreshing to hear of a good outcome. Also, I think you're right in that your grandma knew. She just didn't care because her love for you was more than any opinion she could have had. Your grandparents sound lovely and this story made me smile. Thank you. It's so refreshing to read a story about a family not being homophobic. I teared up reading your update. Very sweet update. I'm really happy for you and your family. One thing stood out to me, your grandpa saying that his opinion doesn't matter because he's 85. That made me really sad, but maybe he was joking. Pleading face, pleading face, pleading face. You have a sweet grandpa. I almost teared up. He needs to be protected at all costs. This made me tear up. I'm so glad your grandpa took it all in stride and is excited to party. I am sure your grandma knows and is very happy for you. This is definitely making me miss my grandpa. Thank you for this update. I'm not crying, you're crying. Grandpa sounds like a sweet man. I'm all smiles after reading your update. I must admit I was nervous for his reaction too. So pleased it all turned out well. Wishing you and your wife a long happy healthy marriage. Lol I love your grandpa. Change is hard, whether it's a good change or not. He handled it well. My strict Republican and Catholic father was a hard one to come out to. When I did he accepted it without a blink, then asked if he could walk us down the aisle. That was 25 years ago. He now lives with me and my wife, and has zero issues with us. I love having him here, and I'm happy I took the plunge to tell him. Congrats to you and your wonderful family. This is so sweet, good on you for taking the kind of weirdly left situation in a better direction. I'm so happy your grandpa is happy for you, I knew he would be. I understood your reservations, although it would have been the right thing to tell, so I'm glad in the end it all worked out that way. My heart happy crying face, what a wonderful update. Your grandfather is a treasure. I wish you and your family well. Congratulations to you and your wife. I want to hug your grandpa. Much love to you and your wife, and your amazing family members. Girl. I am in tears. Congrats to you and your wife. You have good family indeed. Your grandpa sounds really sweet. He was just concerned you'd be able to have happy, fulfilling life. Mine own grandpa is 87. I haven't come out to him about being bisexual yet. I am hoping it takes it as well as yours did. This is so adorable. I'm glad that everything worked out and wish you and your wife the best. Tell your grandpa he's awesome. Well, this is the sweetest thing I've read today. I hope you and Gramps dance the night away and have a great time when you can plan the party. This is so amazing. It also really shed a light on skepticism coming out to grandparents and being surprised how accepting they are. Sounds like your grandfather's real worries were your quality of life day to day. In their day, jobs, buying a house etc. was so much more difficult. Not saying everything is peachy now, cause no, but I think it's kind of sweet how he was worried about logistics, not the coming out. I know it's weird, but I hope you understand what I mean within my ramblings. Sending love. However much it seems you were judged the in the previous post, what's come out of this is nothing short of beautiful. I'm so happy that he's accepted you and your wife and is excited for the party when the world is safer. Just goes to show sometimes there's no need to be afraid of telling them. Not that it's always this easy, but I'm glad this one has worked out happily for you. This is really inspiring to me. I have been with my partner for a year and a half and I think she is the love of my life. However, I have not told any of my grandparents as they are older religious Mexicans who may have homophobic tendencies. However, I spend so much time with them and they have a huge place in my heart, and I'm worried one day I will get married and still feel afraid to tell them. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I enjoyed reading your update. I love that he is excited for you party wedding celebration. That is so cute. I'm glad that everything worked out well and he was genuinely concerned for you and your wife. I teared up reading this. I'm so happy for you, and like others here, think you have a closer relationship with your granddad than most people. Both my granddads died before I was born, but I'd like to think they would have been as accepting as yours is. I love a happy ending and we don't always see that here. Congratulations on your marriage and have a wonderful life. Don't you dare disappoint him and not do a big wedding ceremony as soon as COVID is over. Start planning that now. That man is a treasure and loves you, and he just wants a big party and you've basically promised him now lol. You, your wife, and your family sound like amazing people and I wish the best for you all. I love your grandpas. Well, I'm 85, my opinion doesn't matter, part. My grandma is of the same sentiment. Being humorous, vulnerable, and welcoming when faced with something maybe unfamiliar. That is freaking strength. My GMA has faced more than I will ever understand in her life, and her open heart and sense of humor never cease to amaze me. I need to call her. I'm so scared to see her in person 'cause of COVID, but I think a visit from me would do her well since she's alone and, well, doesn't really wanna be alive anymore. I'm a neglectful grandchild and I feel like shit about it. Any COVID grandparent visiting tips you have are very welcome. Thank you for sharing. Your grandpa is adorable. It warms my heart to hear how excited he was. Congratulations to you and your wife. I hope you have a wonderful life together. So glad to hear it all turned out okay. Enjoy your partying face.